Good morning, everyone. Yeah, you guys got it right. It has been a cool morning. We'll go through some of those numbers in a second. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Wednesday to everyone. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Goode. Welcome to the blog. No storm talk, at least for today. We may get back to that here very, very, very soon. Karen, saw your comment. It was great to finally meet you and talk to you. Don't worry, I'm not going to mention anything about snow, so you don't have to worry about running away and escaping town or anything. It was great to see everyone out there yesterday at the fair. I know there were some I didn't get a chance to talk to you. It was just, as you guys know, it's a bit chaotic when you are doing live weather out there at the same time you're trying to make sure to get a chance to talk with everyone. So if I missed anybody, I apologize. But it was great to see everyone. Ran into our weather friend, Brian Samuels. He was there. Ran into Miss Norma, 95 years old, Miss Norma, and is on top of almost every weather event that she was able to name. So she is a big blog watcher. So hello to Norma as well. And I got to run into one of the first people I ever met, I guess, in working at 16 years old at the Fern Creek Kroger, Anna Burba. I ran into her from there as well at the fair. So it was good to see Anna as well. It's been a long time since I had a chance to see everybody. So always good to see everyone. Hope you guys had a good time, and hope you have plans to get out there and get all that fair food the next few days because the weather still looks great. Now, if you are a fan of the hot, humid stuff, you really like that for the fair. And some of you do. I totally understand that because you want to feel that refreshing feeling, I guess, when you get that ice cream cone or the lemonade versus feeling chilly, which is what I ran into with several of you that were running out of the inside of the South Wing to go outside to try to warm up because the AC was so cold in the building. I don't think I've ever ran into that before. So that was pretty wild as well. And one of my highlights, I had a chance to see and talk to a dear friend, great human all around, Heather French Henry, and have a chance to talk to her about the Huey project that she's working on there with the Vietnam War Memorial that is set up in Timeline, which will be a two-part deal for this year and next year's fair. So, so much that happened yesterday. So much. I'm glad the weather was quiet, so we're able to have a conversation, right? So, what about the outlook ahead? Well, as you guys know, we're going to heat up, so that part is easy. When you get into a high-pressure scenario, a lot of dry air, the weather pattern is very easy to figure out because the changes are very subtle in their occurrence. So, it's like a gradual, several days type of evolving setup. It's when you start throwing in things and fronts and things get a little haywire. And we're starting to see a little bit more of a chaotic look to at least part of next week. And that's the reason why confidence has dropped compared to even yesterday on the extended. So I'll go through why that's the case coming up here in just a second. Let's go through some of these numbers. I saw Adam posted 50 down in Bloomington. 56 was the low here in Louisville. Coolest we've had since late spring. So we have not been to that level at all for the summer season. And the coolest I was able to find in our area was 45 in Meade County. Some spots in eastern Kentucky down to 43 this morning. Yikes. Okay, so I think we'll get cool again tonight. I'll show you those numbers in a second. But I think we're about 70% of the way through on this little cool wave. And we're about to come out the other end of it. All right, so I hope you're enjoying it. There we go. The beautiful shot from Jeffersonville from the harbors looking toward upstream there toward Oldham County and the Ohio River. You could see a beautiful shot from space, a lot of blue sky. Just like we've seen the past few days, though, we will likely get some type of an cumulus field, very flat cumulus that will form. I don't know if we'll see as many as we did past couple of days. But once those develop, then you get into an imbalance because you're heating and cooling the air with the shade going back and forth of a shady spot, sunny, then shady, then sunny. Once that starts happening, the wind actually kicks up and we end up with a gusty wind around 20 to maybe up to 25, 28 miles per hour. And we could see that again this afternoon. So be mindful of that as well. And it will add a bit of a chill to the air too, because that will end the warming period. We'll get up to about 77, 78 again. And then once those clouds are very plentiful in the sky, the max on temperature will be met. And then we'll begin to reverse near sunset and get ready for another cool night tonight. We're not alone, of course. We're enjoying this with all of our friends along the eastern United States, especially in the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes area, where several spots are stuck in the 60s for highs into the Great Lakes. Very Octoberish weather pattern for the area. And as I alluded to, and I don't want to discount this, I'll come back around to it, but I do think we will see another round of that again, perhaps near Labor Day. And that's why I think most of you here is the Labor Day outlook. So we'll talk about that in a second. Some showers back into areas of St. Louis. I'm not even sure if much of that is even reaching the ground. But that's, again, it's going to stay to our west. The air is very dry here. So there's not even a rain cloud has a chance to survive in our area. So not worried about that. So lows tonight, very similar to what we had for this morning. I think we're going to get a few more 40s again for early tomorrow. So be mindful of that. But one more cool morning. And then things begin to change. So what I've done is I went back and plotted the CAPE or the instability and the fuel back on the map instead of temperature. So that's where you see this gold and red shading, because now we've got to start paying attention to that again. Yay. As we get into next week, especially. But we're fine all the way through, certainly through the weekend. It is going to heat up. Now, I think we may get to 90 in the city of Louisville by Friday. If not Friday, certainly on Saturday. And then we'll just ease into the 90s more and more as the weekend evolves. But humidity is going to stay very low this weekend. So there will not be a heat index to worry about this weekend. So whatever the actual number is, that's what it's going to feel like. So not bad, not bad. Lower 90s. We've certainly had worse this summer, so we can handle that. Once we get into next week, here's where problems develop. We get into about Monday through Wednesday, that corridor. There are a couple systems that want to basically just go around us to the north and head from the upper plains into New England. Now, they really are going to have a tough time trying to get here into the Tennessee Valley, the Ohio Valley. We still have high pressure in our area that's going to do its best to defend us and keep any front or thunderstorm action from getting near us, but it's going to be a close call. Keep an eye on the fuel in the upper Midwest. Watch the showers and storms that will begin to form. There's a couple of bands that show up there Monday afternoon. Not entirely sold on that. One thing to remember, when you see this little complex of storms, and then you see this one here that forms, this would be a MCS. If you were to take the model verbatim, yeah, MCS, it's back again. But remember about MCSs is that it's like Pac-Man. You know, they like to eat on the higher fuel levels. Well, this is a bit of an odd setup because we're getting to a very dry stretch here. Everything's getting a little more brown, a little crispy outside. So because of that, MCSs like to dive to the better moisture. Well, the better moisture is actually where they're going to be. There's not going to be a lot of deep moisture as you head down to the south. So I'm a little suspect on how far south these will be able to reach us. I do think the Midwest certainly has a severe risk at play, but I'm not sold yet on just how far south and east any MCS action can go, just because of the moisture levels not being as prime in advance of their track versus where they're at when they initially form. So that's the reason why it's a bit of an odd scenario, but certainly needs to be watched, because right now all we have to go on is models, right? And models on moisture levels. So if the models are wrong on the moisture levels across the Tennessee Valley, then they would have a better chance to go a little more south, and then we have a little more of an issue, right? So that has to still be worked out. It is only Wednesday. This is going to change several more times, but I do think it is something to watch, because we will have several little pieces of energy that will be flying around us to our north. So anytime that happens, obviously we got to just pay extra attention to see if there's anything that forms. Even the Euro here has one that forms Wednesday, early morning, late Tuesday night. I'll get rid of my markings here. You'll see it. It just races. You'll see it quickly here, west to east across the Ohio Valley. Just swipes on by. You didn't even see it go by, did you? Moved real fast into the area. So, but it's more of an east-west, a little bit of an odd direction for an MCS. Usually they have a bit of a turn to them. But either way, Monday through Wednesday, questionable here on the storm setup. And that would obviously impact the heat. If we don't get any rain or thunderstorm action out of this setup early next week, which again, I think is tough. When you're in a drought or getting into a drought set or just a very dry pattern, it's hard to get out of it. Then the mid to upper 90s will be at play. What I've done, as you're going to see in the 10-day, I did take temps down slightly, just a couple of degrees, only because I do think even if the storms were to form in the Midwest, based on the upper air flow, we would get a lot of debris clouds and a high-level cirrus deck that would move in, and that probably would shave off a few degrees on the heat. I'm not going to complain about that. I'm fine with that. But that's why the temperature forecast also would be a little bit of a questionable setup. But what really does not have as much question to it is the stronger front that will then move in by next Friday, leading into Labor Day weekend. That front's still there, a little bit slower today than what it looked like yesterday, but still roughly a Friday timing for it to move in. Don't know yet on the severe side of things. Way too early. You can tell it's a very mature system. You got that comma shape to it up here into Canada. You see it up there to the north. Looks like the comma on your keyboard. Stretches all the way down. So there's the comma shape. So that's a very mature cyclone. So it will likely have a decent amount of rain and thunderstorm action on the northern side of this line. I'm just not so sure about our section that would come through Kentucky. That has to be worked out, but it will have a big impact again on temps and knocking us back down. As long as that holds, then we'll be in good shape to have another refreshing blast of cool air for the holiday weekend. But we've got to get that front through here. That's a key piece. And being that far out in the extend makes me a little nervous, but hey, it's all right. It's all right. It's something. Severe risk from the Colorado State. Now, it doesn't see the front for next week, but it does see the MCS potential, and that's where it starts to throw in that very low end severe risk into portions of the Ohio Valley, but it's very low. It's not even a slight. So at the moment, I don't think it's anything to worry about, but at least want to mention today, and let's see if this conversation continues in that same direction coming up for tomorrow. All right, let me get to the 10-day and then get to some of your questions if you have any, which I'm sure you will. DJ, can we keep on with these cooler temperatures? We're going to try. We're going to try. Fall will be here before you know it. I think 32 days. 32 days, I think, before we get to it. So this is we've got some really nice bonus weather we've had this summer season. I don't think we complain too much anyway. Nancy, can't wait for the Halloween winter outlook. Several of you mentioned this yesterday about the outlook at the fair. Again, the Halloween outlook. The winter weather outlook comes out Halloween night. I start working on it September 1st. Yeah, I start typing it anyway. I probably will change my mind 20 million times between now and then, but I start then. Let's see. Hi, Michelle. It was very nice to meet you as well. I hope you're doing well. Those allergies, I know I woke up and my nose was like running instant, like, oh no, please no. But I think we all battle that, right? Especially dry air, our sinus cavities, not the best for that, right? Brad, good question. Is next week the last time for the 90s? Possibly. There is another window about 6 days or so after Labor Day that we could get back into the 90s again. So I'm not going to rule it out, but we're down to the last gasp here, guys, on 90s, right? Last year was the 5th of September was our last day at 90 degrees. So we're getting close. We're getting very close. So hang in there. So if you're getting real excited about fall weather and you're getting sad about the 90s, hey, look, this is just summer trying to just show off one more time. Let it do it. It's fine. It just means we're going to get a lot of snow this winter, right? At least that's my theory. All right, guys, I got to run. Sorry, it's a little short today, but I just want to make sure to touch base with y'all about the long-term setup, and we'll just see how this goes the next few days. Otherwise, enjoy the beautiful, gorgeous weather outside, and certainly enjoy even the weekend, even if it's going to be in the 90s. I'll see you soon, guys.